There have been some question this week about who has an advantage in the Niner-Dolphin game. Mike McDaniel knows Kyle Shanahan's secrets. Kyle Shanahan knows Mike McDaniel's secrets. And I think it's not just Mike. I mean, we'll see like when Mike McDaniel and Robert Saleh play later this year. Again, that's just a cool matchup. I don't think Miami has an advantage necessarily with McDaniel. I mean, if anything, the Niners defense has been going up against this offense longer than the Dolphins defense has. But there is something to be said for just having a high-level guy who knows you, not just your offense, not just your personnel, but knows you, right, on the other sideline.
When you think about an assistant coach, and obviously Saleh and McDaniel are actually more, Kyle's true minions, especially Mike, than even, I mean, LaFleur went with like McVay, and then he went off to Vrabel. Sean McVay was with Jay Gruden and John Gruden before he was with before and after the Shanahans.
Yeah.
Mike McDaniel's entire career is literally just working right next to Kyle. You could argue nobody, definitely including Robert Saleh, knows Kyle Shanahan better from a football perspective than Mike McDaniel.
I think you would argue that.
So when we talked about before we hit record, like, is there actually no advantage? I do wonder, like, can he help his defensive coordinator out? Like, I know watching our defense, Kyle's going to love to do this. Kyle's going to love to do this. I mean, this guy's an Ivy League level, just pretty brilliant guy, clearly. But he has to know Kyle like the back of his hand. And just his thought process on preparing for weaknesses in another team. So I wonder if Mike McDaniel is trying to help out his defensive coordinator a little bit, like, or maybe the defensive coordinator is going to him, like, what do you think Kyle would like to do? You could argue sometimes you overthink that shit. But I would say the one guy who would have a excellent feel for what Kyle wants against certain looks, against your base defenses, against a player that likes to do this, he would know it all to a T. I mean, he got a decade's worth of time with Kyle calling the plays. This guy has been his right-hand minion.
But
I guess he's really grown over time, but definitely last like 6-7 years with Atlanta and then through San Francisco.
Yeah, I guess if I was going to play devil's advocate to Kyle should know him just as well. The difference is ultimately everything that's ended up on the field has been, Kyle approves it. So there could be some things that Mike has wanted to do over the years that Kyle wouldn't do. I don't know. And so
clearly, I mean, I feel like his offense looks a lot different than Kyle's. Now, they have different personnel, but when I watch the Dolphins, I don't see the 49ers. Do you?
No, but I wonder, I haven't watched them this way. I wonder if you would see the Falcons a little bit.
Probably.
Like a different version of Kyle. Like Miami just doesn't run the ball like Kyle runs the ball, right? If Kyle had a different quarterback, would he play differently? I do. I think that Kyle would play differently with
I guess you're right. If we threw on like the highlights of the 16 Falcons, it probably wouldn't look exactly like Jimmy Garoppolo.
I don't think it would. Yeah. Yeah. That's the thing with Kyle that's interesting is what is this, year 6?
Yeah.
Year 6. We haven't seen everything that I think he wants to be. I think a more dynamic quarterback, and he would open up the offense. So, yeah, I mean, maybe there's something to that. That's just like Mike as a head coach. Kyle knows Mike McDaniel, but he does not know Mike McDaniel, the head coach. He has not coached with that guy before.
True.
So maybe there's a little something different there. But I also think like Fred Warner, Nick Bosa, D'Amico Ryans, these guys have coached against Kyle and Mike, right? The Dolphins defense has not practiced against Kyle Shanahan. They've practiced for half a season or a season plus or a season against Mike McDaniel, right? But like that defensive staff doesn't have years of coaching against Kyle Shanahan in practice. So that's where I think it's a little different. Now, Jeff Wilson, is he going to play? I mean, that's the irony to our conversation earlier. He got hurt. Raheem Mostert was hurt, did not play while Raheem's blasting the 49ers.
But, I saw he came out. I think he went on with Papa.
Wasn't the whole quote. I got misquoted.
His quotes, I even thought in paper read like, yeah, he's just talking about his own team. I didn't take it. Now, some of the stuff about his knee injury is separate from him talking about Tua, him talking about Tyreek, and him talking about the talent.
Yeah, but this is always the message I would if I was like, the media trainer for a football team. It's like, guys, it doesn't matter what you meant. Sometimes it doesn't even matter exactly what you said. If you open the door for them to interpret it a certain way, that's your fault, right?
Maybe Mike's like, hey, bro, you do know this defense, they're killing people every week. Let's come out and do a little.
Yeah. Hey,
even if you meant it, fake a ball. Fred Warner, best fucking player I've ever seen, man. That Hufanga guy didn't play with him, but I would have loved to. He's a lot of respect for 29. Again, never played with him. He could play with me any day of the week.
Also, they love Jimmy, right? If you're talking about, even if you're not criticizing a guy that the other team really respects and likes, then it's just why would be my question. If I was Mike McDaniel, I'd say, why are you trying to what? What is the end?
He's helping out Tyler Dunn do a sweet little piece.
Well, that's cool. That is cool. That's journalism, baby. Go long. But TD. But my question would be why? Like, you don't get this a lot in NFL games. Two random teams who never play each other, and all of a sudden there's some bulletin board material. Why?
T Dunn knew what he was doing.
Yeah.
Probably talked to him like a month ago. He wasn't even thinking about it. You know, as a player, you're just kind of week to week. You're like, shit, we're playing them, huh?
Oh my God. I'm not even, and he's out.
Because I bet Raheem Mostert would never have talked shit about the Patriots scheme, right? Or teams in his division. He wouldn't have said anything about Buffalo. I do wonder some stuff out of sight, out of mind. I would never do. Are you gonna put this in print or audio only? I would demand audio, video only.
YouTube Live, unedited. What is Kyle's tree, the record this year? Dolphins have 8 wins? And the Jets have 7? We
counting as true tree, like just the guys from the 49ers, or do you add LaFleur and Sean? No.
The updated tree, John. Yeah. The updated tree is Jets 7, Miami. Yeah, so it's 15-7 for those two guys.
They've had pretty incredible years. I mean, for him to get Tua to 19-3.
Yeah, we're
I would say for Robert,
we're updating his tree.
I would say Robert Saleh had probably, I don't know how ballsy it is. I mean, the guy was horrendous, but he did bench his number 2 overall quarterback and make him the 3rd string quarterback. That's, like I said last week, unprecedented.
Yeah, there's bench and then there's deactivate. He deactivated him.
Needs a breather. So, my question is, did he get a breather and now he gets to be the backup, or does he just maintain being the 3rd string quarterback? That's going to be something interesting to watch. Does the guy battle back? And
we talk about this the other day. Who is the Jets' the other quarterback?
Elite Flacco.
Oh yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah, but I mean, there are games when Flacco hasn't. I mean, obviously they haven't been dressing 3 quarterbacks.
You should be allowed to do.
It's very stupid.
No,
he's great. He's just great at this. I mean, he's clearly a descending player, arrow down, but nobody climbs the pocket quite like Matty Ice. I bet Kyle Shanahan just watches sometimes and gets a hard on, oh my God, I just love that pocket climb. Oh, that 3 steps up in the pocket. Then the ball skips because he doesn't have a good arm. But just that going back and then going forward as TJ Watt's coming around, it is a thing of beauty. I bet quarterback
never really climb, does he?
No, he just kind of jumps around.
No, Jimmy flat foots it and just look, spray.
Matt Ryan does what you were taught in the 90s, the 3-step and working together up. It's climbing like a ladder.
Yeah, it's almost, but you have to take a 7-step drop to get up that far. It almost.
It's what is Matt Ryan's best attribute? Climbing in the pocket. Well, throwing out? No, just the climbing in the pocket.
And then D'Amico. It feels like Robert has solidified himself. Mike McDaniel's got a lot of rope in Miami, and D'Amico is, clearly next. So,
but do you think D'Amico is a lock head coach in 2022? Because when you start looking at the jobs, Denver can't go with a first-time head coach, right? I would imagine want to go with some experience. Who are the other jobs? I guess Carolina would be one that, you get a guy with NFL pedigree, a younger guy, just kind of high-level guy, culture guy. But their problem has been their quarterback play.
Houston?
Right? They're going to have back-to-back one-and-dones?
I know. Well, the quarterback play in Carolina, it's not like they have a guy that they need to help save, right? It'd be one thing to me, Trevor Lawrence, the Jags needed to hire a quarterback coach, right? The Panthers don't even have a quarterback. So, whatever.
But that's been their problem.
I know, but let's just get to respectability.
But you can't do that without a quarterback.
Right, but you draft maybe he brings Jimmy with him.
True.
Or Trey. New Orleans, would they do it? Would they switch? They wouldn't go defensive coach probably.
I would doubt it.
Oh, we determined Arizona can't do it, or could they?
Honestly, though, that would make some sense in division. You heard all these good things. Maybe he just can talk to Kyler, former player, like won't deal with the bullshit. Doesn't feel like Kyler would give a shit whether his coach was Bill Walsh or D'Amico Ryan. Like, I don't think he's changing. So, but I think that makes logically a lot of sense. Former player, high level guy, but defensive tough guy. So it's not like Kyler can punk him. He's way bigger than Kyler, right?
But that's not.
You're not shoving him or whatever. But I'm just saying, like there was an intimidation factor. Like, do you think Kyler and Mike Vrabel would get along?
You know, in some ways, you're right. Like a defensive coach like Vrabel or D'Amico, Kyler can't. Like, they're not going to. Like, part of the deal, it feels like Kyler thinks he knows what plays should be called better than Cliff.
Well, think about the 1 year where you just heard good things. Lincoln is a sneaky, no-nonsense guy.
Yeah.
Like, he wasn't screaming at Lincoln Riley that year, was he?
No.
It was all kind of kumbaya.
Wasn't rich yet either.
Well,
not this rich.
They were
not this rich.
No.
Chargers, got to go offensive coach.
Yeah.
But they should have hired Mike McDaniel.
Could you trade D'Amico and a couple players for Herbert to the Chargers?
Khalil Herbert?
Would you trade D'Amico and Fred Warner for Justin Herbert?
Yes.
Yeah, I would too.
Keep going. I mean,
Deebo Samuel?
Yeah. Keep listening, guys.
And Fred and D'Amico?
Yes. That's an easy trade.
Yeah, I'd do that too. Hufanga?
Yes. Hufanga.
It wouldn't be easy.
That's
he'd
where
be the
I draw
one
the line, John.
No fucking Hufanga.
It's me. If Hufanga goes, I go.